The internet has been left stunned, and the music world is absolutely shook. Because what if we told you that Kendrick Lamar was just inches away from dropping a full-blown collab album with none other than Lady Gaga, and it was secretly being executive produced by Jay-Z himself? Yeah, you heard that right. Not a remix, not a feature. A whole artistic crossover that would have broken streaming records, crushed genre boundaries, and redefined what hip-hop and pop could sound like together. But here's the twist, it almost happened. Almost. Now, you're probably asking, why haven't we heard about this before? Why did Gaga suddenly stop mentioning Kendrick after that one cryptic tweet in 2013? And why was Jay-Z's Roc Nation meeting with both of their teams in total silence during the pandemic? Sources are saying there was a heated phone call, industry sabotage, a betrayal that left Kendrick furious, and a secret demo that was leaked to a high-profile exec's daughter, and then buried before the public could ever hear it. And now, a former assistant has come forward with screenshots, a private voice memo of Gaga's reaction, and even a text from Beyoncé that hints Jay-Z might have had an entirely different plan all along. This isn't just a story about a missed collab. It's a tale of ego, empire, and emotional fallout that nearly shattered friendships and changed the course of modern music forever. Stay right there, because once you hear the real reason this project collapsed, you'll never look at these three artists the same again. It all started with a dinner, quiet, private, and totally off the radar. Back in late 2012, after Good Kid, M.A.A.D. City had taken the world by storm, Kendrick Lamar was invited to a Roc Nation afterparty in New York. Not the flashy type, Kendrick showed up late, didn't bring a crew, and was planning to slide out early. But then, Lady Gaga walked in, draped in leather, no security, and headed straight for the table where Kendrick sat with Jay-Z, sipping something dark and heavy. According to multiple insiders, the energy between Kendrick and Gaga was instant. Gaga, who had been quietly following Kendrick's career since Section 80, told him point blank, "You're not a rapper, you're a prophet." Kendrick, who rarely takes compliments at face value, reportedly just smiled and said, "You hear pain in my verses or clarity?" That moment sparked what insiders would later call the weirdest, deepest bond in music that never got to happen. Within a week, Gaga's team reached out. She wanted to collaborate, not just a one-off song, but a full-scale genre-smashing concept project that would blur the lines between hip-hop and avant-garde pop. And surprisingly, Kendrick said yes. He was intrigued. In fact, in a 2013 interview that fans later dissected, Kendrick casually mentioned, "Some artists be pop, but they got more to say than rappers." Gaga one of them. By spring 2013, Gaga and Kendrick had recorded 3 demo tracks together in a private Malibu studio, owned by one of Jay-Z's close friends. One of the songs, tentatively titled Candy War, reportedly featured Gaga's haunting vocals layered over a slow-building instrumental that transitioned into a brutal, uncompromising Kendrick verse about childhood trauma. A leaked engineer note described it as Eminem Stan meets Kanye's Runaway, but through a jazz filter. But here's where the story turns. Enter Jay-Z at first. Hav was just watching from a distance. He was intrigued, even supportive, especially since Kendrick had just begun navigating early talks about moving under the Roc Nation umbrella. Gaga, already one of the most powerful women in pop, didn't need Jay-Z, but respected him enough to let him hear the demos. That's when things shifted. Insiders say Jay saw something in the collab that most people didn't. It wasn't just a genre experiment, it was a cultural reset, and he wanted to executive produce it. At first, Kendrick was hesitant. He didn't want too many cooks in the kitchen. But Jay promised full creative control and told Kendrick, "I don't want to change your vision. I want to protect it." Kendrick agreed, but Gaga, she wasn't sold. And this is where the cracks began to form. Sources close to her team say Gaga started noticing subtle shifts once Jay-Z got involved. Studio sessions were rescheduled without her input. Her verses were being trimmed. Kendrick's manager, Dave Free, was allegedly being told to keep things more rap-focused. Gaga was told she could layer her vocals in post. She went from collaborator to feature real quick, one studio assistant said. Tensions rose. Kendrick, torn between artistic loyalty and his growing trust in Jay, tried to mediate. He allegedly called Gaga late one night, saying, "You know I respect you, right? This ain't me. I'm caught in something bigger." Gaga replied, "You're not caught, you're choosing." And then she hung up. The following week, Gaga didn't show up to a session, then another. Then she posted a cryptic tweet, "I've learned the hard way. When you bring your soul into the room, make sure the room still has space for it." Fans were confused. Was she talking about her label, a new album? No one suspected Kendrick. Until an unreleased version of Bitch, Don't Kill My Vibe leaked, an early demo that featured Lady Gaga singing the hook instead of Anna Wise. The internet went insane. How did Gaga end up on one of Kendrick's most iconic songs, and why was she cut? Was it label politics, ego, or something more sinister? That leak reignited everything. Gaga was flooded with questions. Kendrick was quiet. And Jay-Z, silent. But behind the scenes, it was chaos. According to a Rock Nation intern who has since spoken out, Jay-Z pulled the plug on the full Gaga x Kendrick project quietly in early 2014. He believed it would be too divisive and distract from Kendrick's growth as a solo artist. Gaga's label, already uncomfortable with the darker themes of the project, agreed. Contracts were buried, recordings were sealed, engineers were paid off, and the project vanished. Gaga was livid. "She felt used," one of her stylists said. "Like she gave them her voice, her heart, and they just extracted what they needed." But it wasn't just artistic betrayal. Gaga had told friends that she believed Kendrick was one of the only men in music who truly saw her beyond the wigs and theatrics. And when the project was shelved, she felt abandoned. Kendrick, meanwhile, was dealing with his own emotional fallout. Friends say he struggled privately, feeling like he'd let something sacred get poisoned by strategy. On his 2015 album To Pimp a Butterfly, fans have long speculated that the track You, a brutal, sobbing monologue, contains coded references to the Gaga situation. One line in particular, "You and the music, the only things that kept me alive, now both of y'all gone and I'm stuck in disguise," has been dissected in Reddit threads for years. But the world moved on. Until 2021. That's when a former Rock Nation assistant, fired during the pandemic, began selling screenshots to gossip blogs. One screenshot shows a calendar invite from Jay-Z labeled KG Final Cut/AB Test. Another, a Slack message where a rock exec jokes, "Guess we dodged a Gaga meltdown." Imagine trying to repackage that circus for hip-hop. And the most shocking, an alleged voice note from Beyoncé herself, sent to Jay that says, "I told you Gaga wasn't built for our world. She plays emotional, we play to win." That note caused a meltdown in the Bayhive and Little Monsters alike. Was Beyoncé part of the takedown? Or was she trying to protect Kendrick's rise in a cutthroat industry? No one knew for sure. But Gaga, in an Instagram Live months later, finally hinted at the truth. When asked by a fan about Kendrick, she paused, then said, "There are artists you work with. Then there are artists you connect with on a cosmic level. But sometimes the universe gets hijacked by suits and silence. That's all I'll say." And that cryptic quote, it reignited the fire, because right around that time, a demo drive was stolen from a Rock Nation employee's apartment. The thief, never identified. But weeks later, an anonymous SoundCloud account uploaded a 27-second clip titled Candy War Rough Cut, featuring unmistakable vocals from both Kendrick Lamar and Lady Gaga. The clip was removed in under 3 minutes, but not before the internet caught it. And now, everyone wants to know, what really happened between Kendrick, Gaga, and Jay? And are they about to finally break the silence? After that 27-second Candy War clip leaked, everything changed. What had once been whispered about in fan circles was now unavoidable. The media, previously hesitant to touch the topic out of fear of retaliation from Rock Nation or potential legal fallout, suddenly had fuel, and they ran with it. Headlines flooded the culture blogs. Was Kendrick silenced? Did Gaga get blackballed? Did Jay-Z kill the greatest collab that never was? But what no one expected was the fans themselves to start digging. Reddit threads turned into mini investigations. Old studio photos were dissected frame by frame. A blurry shot from 2013 that fans thought showed Kendrick and Gaga hugging in a sound booth, it was now evidence. Sound engineers who had worked with both artists began receiving anonymous DMs, offering cash for any surviving copies of the full demos. One even posted, anonymously, that he had heard 5 unreleased songs from the project, and claimed, if those songs had dropped, Drake would have had to pivot his whole sound. Meanwhile, Gaga went quiet again until she suddenly posted a cryptic story on her Instagram. A photo of her in a dark studio, staring at a blank wall with the caption, "Some things never leave your spirit." Fans went wild. Was she teasing a revival of the project? Was she reconnecting with Kendrick? The same week, Kendrick appeared on a podcast, rare for him, and when asked about the Gaga collab, he paused for a full 7 seconds. Then he smiled and simply said, "Sometimes the industry ain't ready for the truth. That's all I'ma say." That sentence sent shockwaves through the music world, because for years, he had never acknowledged the project directly. That one sentence confirmed everything fans had suspected, that something had happened behind the scenes, and it wasn't just label politics, it was strategic sabotage. Behind closed doors, more insiders began speaking up. One close associate of Dave Free revealed that Jay-Z initially encouraged the collab, only to change his stance once he realized Gaga's creative input was starting to outweigh his. He allegedly told Kendrick, "If you let her drive this, you'll end up being the guest on your own record." Kendrick didn't agree, but Jay's influence, especially in the middle of early talks about transitioning Kendrick to Roc Nation management, was hard to ignore. Around the same time, Beyoncé's name started resurfacing in conversations again. Not because she was directly involved in the project, but because of that one leaked voice note. "She plays emotional. We play to win." The tone of it, icy, calculating, made fans wonder. Had Bey warned Jay against the project from the start? Or was she protecting him from the fallout she saw coming? But the biggest twist came not from the artists, but from a ghost account on Twitter. An account named @Inside the Industry, created just days after the Candy War leak, began tweeting specific details only someone inside Roc Nation would know. It referenced internal meetings, buried contract drafts, and unreleased Gaga lyrics that hadn't appeared anywhere else. One tweet read, "Track 4 was about Kendrick's father. Gaga wrote the hook. Jay said it was too soft." The tweet was retweeted by verified producers, some who even worked on To Pimp a Butterfly. But then chaos. The account posted a final tweet. They thought they could silence her, but the song lives. Attached, a Dropbox link. The link was dead within 10 minutes, but not before thousands of people clicked. And what some of them downloaded was the full version of Candy War. It was raw, unmixed, but real. Gaga opens the song with a stripped, chilling piano line. "I tasted blood before I tasted fame. They told me love and war were just a game." Then Kendrick drops in furious, poetic on edge. His first line, "My mama prayed I'd be a preacher, but I only preach through pain." For 3 minutes, they trade verses, push each other, blend worlds. The beat breaks halfway through into a war drum rhythm. Gaga screams. Kendrick raps through it. It was cinematic, unhinged, unforgettable. The internet lost it. Clips flooded TikTok. Reaction videos soared into the millions. DJs called it the most important unreleased track of the decade. And Gaga's fans, they demanded justice. The hashtag #FreeCandyWar trended for 3 days straight. Kendrick's fans begged him to leak the rest. Pressure mounted for a response, but Jay-Z stayed silent. Roc Nation issued a cold cease and desist to YouTube and SoundCloud, forcing takedowns of every version of the leak. But the damage was done. The world now knew what they tried to hide. And fans started asking the real question, why? Why destroy something this groundbreaking? Why bury this kind of artistry? A report from a music insider finally shed light on it. Back in 2014, just after the project was shelved, Jay-Z had struck a deal with a major streaming platform, rumored to be Tidal, that required exclusivity for Kendrick's next project. Gaga, being signed to a different distributor, posed a problem. Her legal team refused to bend. Jay had a choice, Kendrick or Gaga, and he chose Kendrick. But to keep control of the narrative, the Gaga collab had to disappear. Not fizzle out, vanish. This revelation enraged fans. Jay-Z's legacy, always rooted in being a master strategist, suddenly looked cold and calculated in a way that hurt the culture. People started questioning his motives. Was he building Kendrick up, or was he afraid Gaga might shift the spotlight away from him and Bey's empire? Even Beyoncé began facing backlash. Fans dug up past interviews where she praised Gaga, asking, so why go silent when her voice was erased? Meanwhile, Gaga, finally seeing the world rally behind her, began subtly reclaiming the story. She started wearing black and gold in public appearances, the exact color scheme of the original cover art for the scrapped Kendrick collab. She posted throwback rehearsal footage with no caption. Then, at a surprise Vegas show, she played 10 seconds of an unreleased track. The crowd gasped. The melody? Familiar. It was Candy War. The room went silent. She looked up, smiled, and whispered into the mic. Not everything that gets buried stays dead. Boom, the audience lost it. That same night, Kendrick was seen backstage. No cameras, no official confirmation. But someone snapped a blurry photo of him hugging Gaga, eyes closed. The photo went viral. And now, rumors are swirling. Are they finally finishing the project? Is Jay-Z pissed? Is Beyoncé distancing herself from the drama or preparing a response? Nothing is clear. Except this, the truth is out. And the silence is finally broken. The hug between Kendrick Lamar and Lady Gaga, captured in one grainy, poorly lit backstage photo, was all it took to rip the industry wide open. Fans immediately dubbed it the reunion that was never supposed to happen. It wasn't just emotional, it was revolutionary. Comment sections turned into forums. Think pieces dropped like bombs. Music Twitter became ground zero for one question: what now? But behind the scenes, tension was building fast because this wasn't just a story anymore. It was a movement, a reckoning. And the people who had tried to bury this collaboration, they were now scrambling to control the narrative. Roc Nation issued another wave of takedown requests, this time not just for leaked tracks, but for fan art, TikTok breakdowns, even bootleg concert clips. They were trying to erase not just the music, but the emotion that was growing around it. One TikTok creator, with nearly 2 million followers, posted a video explaining the full timeline from 2012 to 2021. It hit 10 million views in less than a day before vanishing without explanation. Copyright violation, they said, but fans weren't buying it. At the same time, Jay-Z was reportedly livid. Sources close to his inner circle claimed he felt blindsided by Gaga and Kendrick's secret backstage link-up. Even more damaging, insiders revealed that Gaga had refused to sign an NDA ahead of the encounter. Why? Because she wanted control this time. No silence, no middlemen, no buried ideas, just her and Kendrick on their own terms. That terrified people. Because Gaga wasn't just famous, she was free. She didn't need industry backing. Her loyal fan base, her success in film, fashion, and philanthropy, she was beyond blackballing. And Kendrick, he was already a legend, Pulitzer winner, untouchable. Together, they were dangerous, not just because of their talent, but because they were willing to call out the machinery that used to own them. And then came the Renaissance Ball, an A-list, invitation-only gala hosted by none other than Beyoncé and Jay-Z at their Lowe's Angels estate. It was supposed to be a celebration of legacy, of Black excellence, of music history. Kendrick was invited. Gaga wasn't, until she showed up anyway. Draped in a shimmering, gothic gold gown with black lace gloves and no entourage, she entered like she'd been invited from the start. Cameras weren't allowed, but that didn't stop attendees from leaking what happened inside. According to multiple eyewitnesses, Gaga and Beyoncé exchanged no words. Zero. Gaga kept her distance until Kendrick walked in. That's when the entire room shifted. The two artists, reunited just weeks prior, reportedly walked straight past Jay-Z and Beyoncé, not out of disrespect, but out of resolve. They sat together, they laughed, they whispered. People noticed. Someone said Jay-Z watched them the entire time, eyes narrowed, lips pressed tight. Others say Beyoncé kept her composure, smiling, sipping, but clearly aware of the symbolism. Later that evening, Kendrick and Gaga disappeared into a side wing of the mansion. What happened next was never confirmed, but one guest claimed they heard muffled bass. Another said they recognized Gaga's voice, singing, raw, unfiltered. And then, Kendrick's unmistakable cadence cutting through. Were they recording? Testing a new track? Was this the official return? No one knew for sure. But what did leak was a security log that showed Kendrick and Gaga remained in that room for 3 hours while security kept the hallway clear. No interruptions. No guests, just the two of them and a portable recording setup. By morning, the industry was in full-on panic mode. Universal sent urgent emails to Gaga's team. Sony reportedly called Kendrick's label 4 times in one day. And the rumor? Jay-Z's team reached out to both artists, demanding to be involved if the collaboration was being revived. They were ignored. A week later, Kendrick posted a cryptic image on his website. A blank black screen with one white sentence. "The silence is over. Fans lost their minds." Gaga reposted the same image to her Instagram story, adding a silver rose emoji, an inside nod to Candy War, where Kendrick once rapped. "She grew in dirt, but bloomed silver." The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Something was happening, and this time, no one could stop it, but not everyone was excited. Jay-Z was done playing behind the scenes. In a surprise appearance on a niche music podcast, he addressed the rumors. "Look," he said, cool and calculated, "not every idea is meant to become a movement. Some things are just ideas. And when people take things too personally, they miss the big picture." That comment, instantly viral. People called it gaslighting. Fans felt insulted. Gaga's camp was furious. And Kendrick, he went straight to the studio. 2 weeks later, without any promo, without any label announcement, a new track dropped on streaming services under a blank artist name. "The Rose That Grew in Silence." No credits, no visuals, just one song. But listeners knew instantly. It was them. Gaga's opening line, "I buried my voice in velvet lies, but you dug it up with fire." Kendrick followed with, "They made me pick between crowns and connection. I chose to burn the throne." It was real, raw, emotional, unapologetic, and once again disappeared within 12 hours. Takedowns flooded in. Streaming platforms scrubbed it, but not before millions heard it. And once something is heard, you can't unhear it. The revolution wasn't just digital now, it was spiritual. That night, Gaga tweeted a single rose emoji. Kendrick posted a video of him walking through Compton wearing a t-shirt that said, "Let the art speak." And then, silence. No interviews, no statements, no announcements, just energy. An energy that told fans something seismic was coming, something that couldn't be stopped this time. Gaga's team allegedly started preparing a surprise rollout independent from her label. Kendrick's camp leaked that he had locked down 2 full weeks of studio time in an undisclosed location. And most shockingly, several former Roc Nation staffers had suddenly resigned without explanation. The streets were talking. Producers whispered that a full Kendrick x Gaga project was back on. Jay-Z's influence? Fading, Beyoncé, quiet, and the fans holding their breath. Because what started as a buried idea, a canceled dream, a silenced masterpiece, had now become a rebellion. And when it drops, it won't just change music. It'll burn the playbook. Forever. The industry had no idea how to contain what was coming, because the storm that started as whispers in backrooms was now headline news, trending hashtags, and late-night talk show punchlines. Kendrick and Gaga was no longer a collab, it was a symbol, a movement, and for some, a threat. While executives tried to downplay the chaos, fans had already made up their minds. This was bigger than music. And then came the leaks. Not just snippets this time, but full documents. Licensing contracts, NDA proposals, email threads with Roc Nation execs. One thread revealed Jay-Z's lawyer explicitly warning against allowing the Gaga collab to resurface due to brand confusion and tone inconsistency. Another internal memo from 2014 labeled Gaga as unstable in branding, high risk emotionally, unpredictable in messaging. Fans were horrified. It painted a picture of an entire machine working overtime to erase a woman who did nothing but dare to create with freedom. Gaga didn't stay quiet. She went live. No glam, no makeup, just her face, raw and teary-eyed. She didn't hold back. "They told me I was too much," she whispered. "They told me Kendrick deserved clarity and I was chaos. But Kendrick saw me, he heard me, and he fought for me longer than anyone knows." The stream cut after 4 minutes, but the damage, or the awakening, was permanent. Gaga wasn't just back, she was done being silenced. She changed her Instagram bio to unburied. And that same day, Kendrick posted a short video clip to his website, footage of a vinyl record spinning. The label read, "Candy War, The Lost Tapes." No date, no caption, just the haunting echo of Gaga's voice. What they tried to kill still breathes in melody. The industry erupted. Blogs refreshed every 10 seconds. Music journalists canceled their vacations. Radio hosts speculated whether this meant a secret drop, a documentary, or both. And as the pressure mounted, Jay-Z, once the master chess player, suddenly looked cornered. Sources close to Roc Nation confirmed that multiple artists under Jay's management began questioning whether they were next. Would their creative choices be blocked too? Was the empire cracking? One artist, a rising R&B star who asked not to be named, reportedly backed out of a Roc Nation showcase, tweeting, "I'd rather be risky than erased." That message was retweeted over 70,000 times. But behind the scenes, Kendrick was still quiet. Until Variety broke a story that shook everything. He had filed for a trademark under a new label, Firebloom Records. It was independent. It was artist-owned. And Lady Gaga was listed as co-founder. That move wasn't just a business decision. It was war. The label's mission statement was short: "We are not afraid of the noise, we are the noise." It sent chills through the industry. The idea that two of the most influential artists on Earth were now building their own space, free of industry politics, beyond Jay-Z's influence, and backed by fan armies who were starving for authenticity, was a shot across the bow. Kathy Hughes, founder of Urban One, called it the most culturally disruptive move since Prince changed his name. And if that wasn't enough, a massive billboard appeared in Times Square the following week. Black background, white letters. One line, "You buried us alive, we bloomed anyway." And beneath it, the logo of Firebloom Records. Jay-Z was reportedly furious, not just because of the optics, but because the blueprint he spent decades building, one of loyalty, structure, silence, was being ripped apart in real time by two people he once tried to control. And Beyoncé, sources say she was conflicted. One insider claimed she respected Gaga's stand, but feared the consequences. Bey never liked mess, they said, but she respects war when it's earned. That comment ignited more speculation. Would Beyoncé respond? Would she join? Would she choose her husband or the movement? As fans speculated, Gaga and Kendrick finally broke the silence. A surprise YouTube premiere was scheduled, no promo, just a 24-hour countdown. The title? Candy War, the documentary. When it dropped, the internet stopped. For 48 minutes, fans watched behind-the-scenes footage, old studio clips, conversations between Kendrick and Gaga, arguments, hugs, tears, and voice notes. Real ones of Jay-Z's team trying to derail the project. At one point, you hear Kendrick say, "They think they can pick the truth apart and sell it. I'm not giving them that privilege anymore." Gaga responds, her voice shaking, "Let's finish it, even if it burns everything." The documentary ended with a black screen and a date, March 3rd. Below it, a single word, "Awaken." Within seconds, streaming platforms updated. Pre-saves went live. The title of the album, Candy War, 15 tracks, all original, all recorded between 2012 and 2023. Kendrick and Gaga, unfiltered, unafraid, finally free, but not everyone was celebrating. Jay-Z's legal team filed an injunction attempting to block the release. Their claim? Ownership of unreleased masters and defamation by omission. Fans weren't having it. They flooded Roc Nation's socials with "Let Them Drop." Protesters showed up outside the label's headquarters in New York and LA. A plane flew a banner over Coachella, "Let Gaga and Kendrick fly." And then, something no one expected, Beyoncé stepped in. In a surprise Instagram video, she addressed the situation. No glam, just her. She said, "Every artist deserves to own their truth. What's happening here isn't just music industry politics. It's about silencing legacy. I love my husband, but I believe in fire, I believe in freedom, and I believe in them." It was the closest thing to a public split the world had ever seen from music's most powerful couple. And in that moment, the war was over. Because if Beyoncé was siding with Kendrick and Gaga, who could stop them now? The injunction was dropped quietly 2 days later. March 3rd arrived. The album dropped. And within 12 hours, it broke every streaming record imaginable. Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, even YouTube crashed. Candy War was a sonic masterpiece. It wasn't just music, it was resurrection. From Burial Ground, a spoken word intro where Gaga whispers through distortion, to Fire Baptism, where Kendrick drops a 64-bar verse over a choir breakdown, the album didn't just live up to the hype. It surpassed it. The world had never heard anything like it. And by the time the final track, Unburied, faded out, there wasn't a dry eye on social media. Thousands of fans posted reaction videos crying. Artists across genres posted tributes. Drake, famously silent about the feud, posted a story with a fire emoji and the word respect. Even Taylor Swift tweeted, "The world needed this album more than we ever knew." Jay-Z said nothing. He didn't need to. The message was clear. He lost this war. And the artists he once tried to cage, they were now kings and queens of their own kingdom. And just like that, what started as whispers of a forgotten collaboration turned into a cultural reset that the music industry will never recover from. Candy War wasn't just an album, it was a message, a rebellion, a resurrection. Kendrick Lamar and Lady Gaga didn't just drop music, they dropped the truth. They exposed an entire system designed to silence, mold, and erase anyone who didn't play by the rules. And they did it with no permission, no filter, and no apology. Jay-Z, the mastermind of moves, got outplayed at his own game. Beyoncé, the queen of precision, chose art over alliances. And the world finally heard what was buried for a decade and will never unhear it. But now it's your turn. Do you think Candy War changed the game forever? Do you believe Gaga and Kendrick just cracked open the door to a new era where artists run the industry instead of being run by it? Or do you think the machine will come back swinging harder than ever? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk for real. Smash that like button if you believe in art over industry. Subscribe if you want the truth that labels don't want you to hear. Subscribe if you want the truth that labels don't want you to hear. And hit that bell icon because trust us, this isn't the end of the story. This is just the beginning of the rebellion. Gaga said it best, "What they tried to kill still breathes in melody." And now that melody, it's loud. We're tuned in. We're not forgetting. And we'll be right here for the next war that erupts behind studio doors. You in? Good. Let's keep the pressure on.